Hello everyone, Dr. Tryhard here again with another episode of How to Kick Ass in Home News. In this episode we'll be covering...
Get out of here, you! Be gone! Skip! Scat! Sorry about that, everyone. Welcome again to another episode of Star Citizen FM, number 6. My name is Dr. Hawk, and I will be with you for today's episode, as always. I'll be covering Wingmans Hanger today, as well as a few more comments on PERMADEATH, although, bear with me here, this time it's been described by Chris Roberts himself and clarified, as well as a secret thing that isn't really that secret because it's in the YouTube header. Anyways, let's get right down to business. Wingmans Hanger, Episode 7. In this episode, we actually get to see the inclusion of some of the fan-submitted videos that he had posted of last time on the forums. I will be getting to that, but for those that were included, it was Adelonius, Allgamer, Koros, and Legante, and I'll be showing those later because Legante kind of made me feel jealous and inadequate. But pretty awesome episode. This week's Week in Review, they have a new concept artist, Elijah McNeil. So he'll be working on some of the concept art for Star Citizen. As mentioned before, Rob Irving is now all busy. He is now working busily to extract all the nuggets, quote unquote, from Eric, from Chris's head to ensure that the vision that they are trying to achieve is exactly that of what Chris wishes to see. Another highlight is that Lance sent in enough alcohol to kill the CIG team 3 times over. I'll be playing a video of that later. Lance, holy crap, man, that was pretty cool. I think I saw Glenn Fiddick there, and that was actually kind of sexy. Interviews with physics programmers. This is a follow-up to last episode where Chris and Eric and company at CIG mentioned they are looking for a physics programmer. So some of you have already been interviewed, a few of those programmers, and they are going to be following up on a final interview with one of you. Yeah, have fun. May the odds be ever in your favor. Okay, that was kind of lame. Other news, the Hangar module now, according to Eric, has a look, quote, air quotes, and feel, end quotes. Don't know if this means you can walk around in it, or if you can fly through walls, or if you just crash. But from what it sounds like, we actually have a Hangar module coming up on us, and that will be pretty cool to mess around with. As well, there's another issue of Jump Point. It has been mentioned by Eric that you should sign up for this, myself included. Apparently it is sometimes up to 40 pages of awesome space porn. If that is your thing and you would like 40 pages of awesome space porn, help him out, subscribe, and check out Jump Point. And I can't show any of that here because that's bad. The next segment we had forum feedback. As mentioned before, Eric included user-submitted videos from the group. I believe a large number of us actually did submit questions, both text and video. Even I think I myself asked one too. I'll have to think of a better question next time. But there were a total of 7 questions asked. The first one, I didn't actually catch the name. I was having trouble hearing it. The first question was, are there any plans or thoughts on character customization? Have they changed? According to Eric, yes, they have changed. It's also going to be largely in-depth, as the ships are pretty much your avatar. The possibilities that are going to be there for users to customize their ship is going to be large. So, customization, a big focus of the game. It's going to be developed as thoroughly as it can. Adelonius, being the smart man he is, asked, will we have Nega hide or real leather seats on the Constellation? Eric's answer was pretty curt, no, you'll have pleather. You must work your way up to afford that sexy leather that you want on your seat. I don't know if this could be serious, could be not. Funny, regardless, congrats, Ito, on the spotlight. If you actually could customize your interior with leather, or gold, or platinum, or the skulls of your vanquished pirate victims? I don't know. We could see where that goes. The next question that was asked was from, again, another name that I didn't cover, and I'll have to check. I'm going to get shot for that one. But the question was, mining was indicated early on that it would be a feature, you know, factories, etc., and that there would be player-owned economies. Actually, this is tied in, I think, to a post that Idolonius has on the forums that I suggest you check it out, as well as to another topic that I've always found interesting, is player-driven economy. According to Eric, there will be a player-driven economy. Now, what exactly they plan to do, maybe like Eve style, or more along the lines of World of Warcraft. I know I'm quoting very generic and sometimes hated games, but you have to realize that their economies do work in a sense. Eve's is probably better than most, but the idea of having players supplying raw resources or black market materials is actually very interesting. He also mentioned the idea of game masters controlling things in case, you know, something goes wrong. You know, next thing you know, nobody has any oxygen, and you know, you got people dying left, right, center because there's no oxygen, and they're saying, yeah, you know, crappy stuff. Will there be player-owned economies? Highly likely, highly probable, but specific style to be determined. All Gamer asked the question of, will we have a quick match PvP option? You know, Optimatch, I don't know. Eric mentioned the possibilities of jousting tournaments, arenas. Any MechWarrior fans like myself for that probably would immediately think of Solaris Arena. If they... Oh my lord, this sudden idea. Eric, Chris, and CIG, if you can get Duncan Fisher or George Ledoux, I think that's his name, to voice over this possible arena idea that you have mentioned, that would be golden.
This is Duncan Fisher, coming live from Solaris. Today's match is brought to you by MechWarrior Living Legends. Will you be a living legend or a forgotten casualty?
How can you not love that voice? Oh my god, Duncan Fisher in Star Citizen. But yes, the possibility of quick match PvP. They talked about wanting to integrate PvP and ship battles into, you know, everyday gameplay. So large possibility of, you know, quick match PvP, or at least accessible PvP options that, you know, don't require you to fly all the way to the end of the universe that isn't policed. Knight of the Yang asked, will there be a flight simulator? If anybody's ever played Wing Commander or any of the previous games, the flight simulator has always been fairly important. Like I said, I hadn't played it before, but I did look this up, and that is, oh no, that is not true. I did play Wing Commander way back when I was younger. I remember I said in the previous episode I hadn't, but after rousing through the memories of this old brain that isn't even really that old, yes, floppy disks, that I remember quite often having to change those up. But the flight simulator was pretty integral, and all Eric said was, look to the past and extrapolate. Very cryptic. Koros carried on with another question of, can we carry more people than allotted space? Now I'm rewording this because he'd also had the mention of sex, booze, and something about a blow-up doll. But the answer by Eric is they don't know yet. Now the crew that you would have by default in your ship, probably likely that's your boarding party, but you know, if you could have 10 of your buddies fitted out in armor and guns and all the fun things, you know, just hiding like in the bulkheads of your ship, I don't know. At this point there is no solid info. The last question, and I think the coup de grace of the fan submitted question, so again, congrats Legate, Hot Rod, both names that you used. That was well done. I really got to work on my videos now. He submitted the question, will the environment affect your person? So he brought up the issue of combat's supposed to affect your person, you know, injuries, cybernetics, etc. What about the environment or space itself? What if you know, got irradiated from exploring a certain area in space? Would that show on your character? From the sounds of what Eric's saying, this is actually highly likely that there will be consequences, both good and bad, for exploring and adventuring these kind of things. In fact, coupled with the bar idea, this would be a good way for players to pick out those players without looking at like a menu or something of, holy shit, geez, look at his face. He's ugly as shit, but god damn, he must be an awesome ass explorer. Granted, he's ugly as fuck, but holy crap, he's an explorer. Maybe not in that sense, but you know, just those visual cues of, oh, hey, you know, he's kind of glowing. He's probably an explorer. He's also probably highly irradiated, and I should stay away from him. Or, you know, I don't know. Yeah, thermonuclear players, that would be really funny. Don't piss this man off or he'll explode. So yes, apparently environment will have an effect on your, or probably have an effect on your players. And this could be cool, and it couldn't just be negative too. It could be things like, I don't know, it could even be like Dune, where those, you know, who had spice, they have like the glowing blue eyes. Although, yeah, I don't know. This is just where I'm starting to run into speculation how you'd pick an explorer slash, you know, adventurer apart. But just the things they could do are actually pretty cool. And remember, consequence does not always equal a negative. So you could have a really cool consequence of, maybe your guy has faster reactions now because he explored this place and it mutated his brain. They could really go crazy with this. But that was pretty much the whole of the questions. And again, I encourage you guys to check out Legante's video. I will be linking it, his actual question, to those who are interested in viewing it. And in the worldwide news portion of the show, Wingman covered the Iron Sky. I don't know if anybody's ever watched this, but basically Nazis in space on the moon. Those 3 words alone should instantly make you want to watch that show. Kind of like Dead Snow, another show that had zombies, mountains, and Nazis. Or Nazis, zombies, mountains, or mountains, Nazis, zombies. Any combination of those work, but basically Nazi zombies in mountains was Dead Snow, and now we have Nazi astronauts in the moon in space. I've never watched the show myself, but I've always had an interest, and apparently there is this little snippet.
Well, can't be any different than playing Wing Commander.
That part right there should make you want to watch the movie. If anything, just to see that part. That's pretty cool. So check out Iron Sky. Pretty cool movie. I'm definitely going to want to look at it now. Also in the news, if anybody's been keeping up with the sort of private space race that's been going on with SpaceX, Dragon, etc., they're continuing their development, and I believe now are sort of all competing as for space race and for NASA contracts. So, well, all of them, and I think that's the goal for all of them anyway, but each of the 3 or 4 space firms, I'll have to check, there's so many popping up now. Private space firms. Who would have ever thought this would happen? They're popping up. I believe SpaceX and Dragon are both, they're doing capsule, and then the other one, even Eric mentioned it, they have their own mini lander of sorts. It's both will take off and re-enter the atmosphere. Very cool stuff. This could be the possibility where I could eventually pay an absorbent amount of money to go to space, which I would do because space, we all probably would. So yeah, check that out. I'll be trying to find a link to them, and if I don't, keep an eye out on that, because last I checked it's something like $100,000, which isn't that bad. The weather in the space still has no weather, again, although I'm assuming this portion of the show is eventually going to have something interesting in regards to the nebulas and other systems that they had talked about before. As well, Jason Spangler, Also appeared for an interview again before. I still don't know if you guys want me putting whole interviews, but the whole of the interview is there on Wingmans Hanger episode 7 if you would like to check it out. He is their chief technical officer, basically the guy who's in charge of the tech of the game, making sure it's staying within its boundaries, making sure the flow of the game is proceeding, etc. Some of his works are actually Ultima Online, Cloud Academy, and even Star Wars: The Old Republic, which, despite some of he didn't say which ones he worked on, if they were the original ones or the MMO, so I'd have to check that out. And the moment you have all been waiting for, or at least what I'm saying for dramatic effect, or is probably not even dramatic apparently due to my monotone voice that some of you don't like. So I'll try to talk all friggin' excited. Yeah, see, I can't do that. I'm just a boring, nonchalant individual. But anyways, Chris Roberts himself has brought up the issue of permadeath. In the article that I will be linking in the description, he actually goes through the in-depth thought process for what he views as death in Star Citizen. From what Eric said, there's 95 or so % of you that are happy with it, and 5% that want to kill everyone. But if you read the whole article, it is actually very reassuring. I didn't really care to begin with, but it's still reassuring to have some fact. In fact, one of the points in the article that stood out right to me, being a huge Dark Souls fan, is that he got some inspiration from Demon Souls. He said he doesn't want to go that same route since it is a little bit harder, but regardless, Demon Souls, Dark Souls, that's a good way to, model after, even if ever so slightly. I'll be going over some of the point questions that he had. I'd highly encourage you guys to go read the whole article, especially the part where he's like, going just into the bathroom and using male and female to pick your gender, wiping off the mirror to kind of influence how your character looks. It's really subtle but cool things there that is different from the standard. Here is a menu. Shape out your character. Here is Play-Doh. Shape that out into a shape. Pretty cut and paste. So some of the QA that was in this article, and I'll be summing it up for time. What qualifies as a death? Not ejecting before your ship blows up, taking a headshot during boarding, and having your ejected pilot or escape pod targeted and destroyed while floating in space. So that counts as a death. This leads into the second question, when she brought up that your character will have lives of sort, and the sort of rough number he's going around is about 6 or 7. How many lives will I get? The exact number of lives will be balanced as development as the game progresses. You're supposed to have multiple deaths, but at the same time, you're more likely to die in a lawless area, etc. So there won't be any life counters or any indication. It's just, okay, well, keep track of the fact that maybe the last 4 times I tried to, head dive into a constellation with my Hornet, it didn't work so well. And maybe the 5th time I'll die. What happens on disconnect or rage quit? Do I lose a life? If you disconnect or rage quit, the game will make an attempt to autopilot you. This sounds actually very similar to Eve. You're never actually gone, so if you decide to leave in the middle of a battle, you're still floating there, and tough shit if you lose it. The game will attempt to dock you at your last successful landing, and if it is in combat, it is assumed you are ejected safely and will be returned to the last safe planet, either with your ship, assuming you had insurance, or not. If the game detects you are trying to abuse it, there will maybe be a death penalty enacted. What are the penalties for targeting an ejected pilot? I've always been a fan of honorable duel, so I like what they say here. Players who target helpless ejected pilots in civilized space that don't have an official UEE death bounty on their heads are the scum of the universe and will be treated as such by the authorities and marked for death by other pilots. I know some of my pirate friends and other friends might disagree, but I view a dogfight as a duel, just as I view Dark Souls a duel or chivalry or whatever. You fight a man, you blow him up, you win. You don't need to blow the shit out of his body, unless you're just really cold-hearted. How long do I float in space before being rescued? When you eject in an active battle instance, you can float and watch the action, so kind of spectator-like. You can activate your rescue beacon at any time, and when there are no hostiles within a certain distance, the game will fade out, and then fade back in with a little time later, quotation, and have an in-engine cinematic of your pilot pod being tracked into a rescue and recovery vehicle. Pretty cool. What happens with a headshot in boarding? A headshot is more likely to be fatal than any other injury. Hopefully people would get that. Boarding a ship is an extremely risky proposition. You can gain a valuable prize by capturing another player's property, but you're putting yourself at the most risk possible. It's possible you'll just lose an eye or a jaw, but there's also a very small chance you'll take a laser to the brain and be dead forever. However, taking a headshot while defending a ship is usually less fatal, as casualties have more immediate access to medical facilities. How will you counteract griefing? This answer goes along saying that they actually think it will disencourage griefers, as the bounties and deaths, etc., for somebody trying to grief, let's say, a newbie spot, would continually stack against your character, and you would just eventually be hunted and stomped on, and your bounty would probably get so high that even the coldest hearted people just say, hey, I want that guy's cash bounty. How can I reduce my chances of dying? Ship upgrades, suit upgrades, power cores, that don't blow as quickly, giving you more time to escape. Automated systems, etc., will be available for you. And there was even the mention that if you wanted to pursue a natural replacement, say you lose your hand, you can do that. It's just more expensive, I'm assuming, and it says you'll be able to pursue these in certain markets. Black market, or maybe legitimate and just highly expensive. Don't know. There also may be medical procedures or organ replacements that increase your lifespan, effectively add a few lives back. Is there any way to opt out of the death system? No. Will multi-person crews be able to escape the destruction of your ships? Yes. Will be designed so they have their own escape pods. Can you rescue or tractor in an ally or person? This was mentioned you can do this, and if this was true, this would give Dr. Hawk something to do. I could go rescue people. If you have room, you can recover an ejected friend. They will become crew on your ship. In addition, if you rescue other players and survive a battle, you will get a rescue payment from the rescue pilot's ship insurance company once you land on the next planet. Space rescue and recovery is standard on all ship insurance policies. Question: what happens if I'm captured rather than rescued? You'll either be sold into slavery or delivered to a prison planet, and either way you'll need to pay off the authorities or buy your way to freedom. Ew, ouch. Are you concerned that the fear of permanent death will scare players away from combat? No, we are building a combat game to do everything possible to encourage players to dogfight. So, in other words, you'll have death. It'll be an inconvenience, but at the same time you shouldn't view this as DayZ, where you die and all of a sudden you're back to square one. Well, crap, that would suck. I already created a backstory for my character and I don't want them to die. Well, you're getting the info in advance so you know how to plan accordingly. Plus, you don't also have to have next of kin that are family members. Good way to work in lone wolf characters. And the last question, will I need to play through Squadron 42 a second time with a new character? No, everything that you've done will stay on your overall record, so to speak. So again, I still managed to turn that into 8 minutes, but either way, check out the death article. It should put some people at rest. And if anything, it has made me a lot more interested in the game even more. Dark Souls / DayZ in space, with maybe less harder consequences. I like my consequences, but at the same time, an interesting system all the same, especially if I can rescue some people. As promised before, ladies and gentlemen, I said I had an interesting little bit for you, and if you were smart enough and read the header title of my YouTube video, you will notice I have an interview. I would like to introduce you to Slavic.
Hey guys, what's up?
So, Slavic, some people, will know you around the forums if you've handed out banhammers or, crushing deliveries of sadness and tears. But I figured I'd, take the opportunity to introduce yourself to the world out there.
Hi all, I'm Slavic, one of the super moderators on the RSA forums. I've had dealings with quite a few people, friendly and bad, unfortunately. Generally, we as moderators don't do very much for lazy people, so you know, if you actually see us doing something, it's very, very unusual.
Okay, so if somebody like Zane, for example, was going along and burning up, you know, the servers, you wouldn't do anything about that?
Oh, no, we just ignore him and let him get on with it.
Okay.
On a more serious note, if, let's say, Zane was going around burning up servers, then obviously we'd send him a nice private message or a public warning, basically asking him to stop it, you know, be nice.
So the usual stuff.
Yeah, the usual. If he carries on, then we send another private message, generally asking him to, you know, listen to what we said. And at that point, if he still carries on, then that's when we start usually handing out ban hammers. Most of us are generally against it. Me, on the other hand, you could probably describe me as a bit of a ban hammer freak, because I'm usually the first one to say, "Alright, ban hammer, screw it."
Well, Star Citizen has attracted quite an interesting community. You know, I myself have never been too involved with forums or community. You know, I was heavily involved in Mass Effect, and then we all know how the forums, you know, exploded on that after that fiasco. But you know, it just you can't exactly label the Star Citizen community as the same. You know, I haven't seen the same amount of trolling or, you know, disparity that other forums have, and no doubt it is there. But what would you say of the community that we actually have? Because for my view, that's what keeps me doing interviews and videos, because it's quite fascinating. People are supporting each other, we've had people buy stuff for each other, we have people, you know, like, I haven't seen anything like this in an art form before.
Yeah, I have to totally agree with you there. This is, the Star Citizen community is by far the best one I've ever been a part of. In total, over the past 2 months, we've had to ban at least 5 people, and out of 110,000 users, that isn't half bad. Usually, it gets a lot worse than that, especially in some of the communities I've been a part of before and been administrator or moderator of. So there's usually been like a ban a day, and usually this of this size. So I am you know, quite surprised.
Okay, so you heard it yourself, community. Give yourself a pat on the back. You are not causing the ban hammer to drop every day. So you've been a moderator for about how long?
With RSI, around about 2 months now, along with Toast, Or Gamer, and a couple of others that I can't remember off the top of my head. If you want to go back into my history a bit, I've actually been running online communities or administrator, being a moderator now since I was actually 10 or 11 years old, which is going like back 14 years.
Very impressive.
Yeah, I've got quite a lot of history with it.
So what?
Why I
Sorry. Yeah. Well, what are your complaints, concerns, or even, you know, likes that you like about the job? Because not everybody could do it. I probably go nuts. I've done it before, and I'm that type of personality that's just okay. See you. Cold shoulder. So,
yeah.
You know, what's the thought process that goes behind it? Because obviously there's stuff you can't talk about, but some people, you know, I've always wanted to be a mod or admin, and then when you actually do it, you realize it's just like managing a bunch of children. Or very mature children sometimes, because, you know, things can get out of hand.
Yeah, what most people generally, as a joke, refer to moderation as cat herding. Because sometimes you get a bunch of good cats which behave well, you know, and then of course you get the ones who disrespect the furniture. And basically, with this community, we've had like maybe 1 or 2 problem users. So again, in my opinion, that's one of the best communities I've been a part of. I very rarely have to get involved in anything, and the general process of how we deal with things is quite relaxed in a way as well. And I mean, just how complaints about this sort of things. There's always, you know, some things that can be done better, but for the most part, it's pretty well done.
Yeah, well, 10,000 to what you said, 5. That's not even over 1%. That's a really damn small ratio.
Yeah, right. As I said, I'm quite impressed with the community as a whole. It's just really, really mature, and well, there's not much else you can say about it. It's just thumbs up to everyone.
Yeah, we have to wait for Pleasure to make his spaceship for our CIG, given the fact he's been handing out stuff like a madman. So props to you, Pleasure. Still waiting on that spaceship.
Indeed, I'd like to say thanks to Pleasure as well in the more public setting for the help he's given me in regards to my modding project as well.
And yes, we will bring that up later. One of the other questions I wanted to talk to you about is everyone has an interest in Star Citizen. We're all here, for the game. What brought you to the game?
Believe it or not, I didn't even actually know it was actually going to happen until a friend of mine called Scarface, who's an old friend of mine back from Freelancer, had accidentally spotted it, and he was like going, Slavic, come check this out, oh, for God's sake, Sky, you've got me into enough games already, what next? And then as soon as I saw Chris Roberts, it was just like, oh my god, and I turned into like a little 5-year-old girl and started screaming. It was not a pretty sight.
I'm pretty sure we all were, and still are.
Yep, but probably. And so I actually joined back in I think it was August time when they had the before they did the thing in October, the announcement. I joined back then, and I've been a happy little schoolboy ever since.
Very nice. So, what are some, hopes or, things that you want to see come from the game? What drew you to it? Is it the idea of a 6-axis free universe to explore? Well, what are the draws that brought you in?
Basically, there's two things that brought me here. The fact that I used to play Freelancer, and it's like Chris Roberts is like, well, I've known Chris Roberts I've been following his work for ages, and I actually first played his games in Freelancer and what was the other one, Starlancer, I think. I'm not sure.
Wing Commander 2.
Yeah, I never actually played the Wing Commander series, much to my disgrace.
Ban Slavic. Ban Slavic. Slavic is banned. PERMADEATH.
Yeah, I probably deserve that, but yeah, much to my disgrace.
Oh man, even I played that, and I barely remember it, but I still have like the books hanging around and all the floppies and everything.
Okay, stop showing off now. But yeah, I've never actually played Wing Commander, unfortunately, and it's something I do intend to remedy in the next few months, hopefully. But yeah, basically, I do know Chris was quite well in the sense I've been following his work and his games for a while, even when he made his Wing Commander movie and how he was involved in a few of the movies as well. I watched all of them, and basically I've been technically a fan of his for quite a while now.
Very nice. So anything you'd like to see come from, Star Citizen? Like, what is it that you hope to do? Do you plan to be Slavic the Explorer? Because we got Pleasure the Pirate. We got a few people here who already know what they want to do. I still don't know what I'm doing. It's probably going to be find explosive and blow shit up. I don't know what that qualifies. Other people want me to make like a Dr. Hawk flotilla. I don't know if you could do that, but okay, we'll see. What does Slavic want to achieve in the Star Citizen universe?
Well, initially I was actually planning to be a mercenary, high gunner, a bounty hunter. I did a bit of shopping around, and eventually I ended up looking at the pirate side of things, because when I was in freelance I used to be a bit of a goody two-shoes, so...
Damn dirty pirate!
So yeah, and I actually remember one of my old freelancer clans I used to fight against for Blood Adders, who have now actually appeared on the forums. And those guys used to hand my book religiously to me, so I just thought, you know what, I'm not going to repeat these mistakes of the past, I'm going pirate. So, yep, I'm going to be a pirate like Pleasure, unfortunately for everyone else.
Fair enough. That brings up the discussion, though. What if you die? What are you going to do if you keep dying over and over because you're being hunted down by, goody two-shoes like myself? How are you going to deal with that death mechanic? Had to bring it up. Permadeath topic of the day. Would you like it shaken or stirred?
Well, in that regards, if you kill me once, shame on you. Kill me twice, and I'm going to bring the rest of my clan down on you. Fair enough. No, I don't play fair. I'm a pirate, so don't expect me to just sit there and let you kill me repeatedly. I'm gonna play dirty.
Yeah, this isn't MechWarrior, not a trial grievance. I demand to duel you. Although that would be interesting to see. I'd like to eventually see if we could, as a community, organize, PvP events or even PvE, or have some of the goofy stuff that I remember back in my EVE days, where it's just race around all of New Eden and see if you survive.
Yeah, that'd be rather fun to do. Must agree.
I can't remember the guy that did. I remember he was in the news. Explored the whole map of EVE, covert ops and everything. It was like a few-week journey, and it was really interesting to cover. So if we could do something similar in Star Citizen, see if you can get through the pirate blockade without dying.
Yeah.
So you said
that.
It would be fun. You mentioned something earlier about a mod or a conversion.
Yes, indeed. I'm project leading a total conversion mod for Star Citizen that's based on the Warhammer 40k intellectual property, and it's going to be called Segmentum.
Yes, and it's an RTS, if I'm correct?
No, the actual mod itself will be basically... it will still be Star Citizen in the sense of the gameplay and everything, but it's going to be Warhammer 40k based. And with that, basically, you'll be able to fly around with some of the famous ships from Warhammer 40k, such as the Astartes Battle Barge, for example, or the Retribution class battleship from the Imperial Navy. So it'll be pretty much like Star Citizen, but basically Warhammer 40k.
Alright, and you've made a forum post regarding this for the people on the modding forums, I believe. So people can look this up, and I can probably put a link up to it right now. And that is for the viewers to go click on and look at and vote on and absorb.
Indeed.
So what can you tell us about this mod, aside from the fact, it's a Warhammer conversion mod? Like, what can we look forward to? Is there a release time? Etc. What is allowed?
Well, some of the features that we're working at the moment are still in technical discussion phase, so I can't really go into it. The death mechanics actually being one of them. I can say the death mechanics are going to actually be somewhat similar to what was described in the Israel's post in the comlink about Death of a Spaceman. In the first version of the mod, you can probably look forward to seeing races that you're most going to recognise, like Chaos, the Imperium, the Eldar, the Orcs, and possibly the Necrons will also be there. The other races like the Tyranids, the Dark Eldar, the Tau Empire will be added at a later point. Just because of the sheer amount of ships that we're looking at, it'd be impossible to get them all in the first version.
If you painted a ship red, would it go faster? I said before the interview that I'm a Warhammer noob, but I do know about the red rule.
I actually have no idea what you're talking about, but fair enough. I'm relatively new to the Warhammer 40k myself, though, so I might do sometimes rely on my team to point out mistakes that I might be making regards to the
steak. I had to call it out. Steaks.
Yeah.
They all happen. So, in the meantime, what can you give people to look forward to on this conversion mod? Because there's no release date, no nothing. Is it just a wait and see response?
Yeah, it's going to be a wait and see thing. We don't want to start saying, yeah, it's going to be released on this date, or it's going to be released in like 2-3 years, just because of the sheer amount of work we've got to do, and it all depends on like if we can get more people to join the team, or if we're stuck with what we've got now. So it all just depends really, because I'm not like going to go around like a slave master whipping people saying work faster.
But you're a moderator.
Yeah, that's about right. That does not automatically give me the right to punish people, but that'd actually be because I'm actually a bit of an emperor's children. I suppose that does give me the right to do it. So yeah.
Okay. Well, there we go. We have some excuse.
Yes.
Okay, so you heard it, You heard it, people. Keep a lookout for Slavic and his team's project. Give it some support, and if you have any skill or abilities that you can contribute to the mod, why don't you send them a message or post on the forum below. So, I'd like to thank you for joining for the interview. If you had any final things you wanted to say or, mention, again, I'd like to call out, Pleasure. Again, I've even noticed on the forum that you helped with his project as well, so I don't know if you're a goddamn ninja, but props to you. But if you wanted to call out or, discuss any last minute things, complaints about my show, I don't know, go nuts.
Hey, ho.
Yes.
I have a complaint.
Okay, and what was that?
I love you. Give me a hug.
Oh, I don't know how to receive that. I thought you were gonna say I was too monotone.
Well, if you want, that's fine. You can always be edited, I suppose.
No, it's fine. I just wanted to again thank you for coming on, and it's been a pleasure having you.
Likewise, always willing to help anyone who needs help.
Anyways, everyone, this is Dr. Hawk signing off, and this is also Slavic.
Cheerio, chaps.
Just wishing you the safe travels and fly safe. Take care.